Is it on Facebook Live? Is that what you're doing, or
YouTube actually.
YouTube? Oh boy.
Where do we find this?
Huh?
Where do we find the YouTube presentations?
I don't know.
That's
Are you
weird.
using that camera?
Yes.
Because it seems to be pointing over here more.
You are in frame, but it's catching basically the entirety of this back wall here.
Shine in my head. Does it zoom in or no?
I'm sure it does.
'Cause I'll
but I don't
probably
know
just
how to
stay in
work
this
that
spot.
function. You have some room to dance around. So.
Are you?
Are we in the view?
You are not in the view.
Okay.
Really?
Back
If you
of our
raise your
heads.
hands, you might be, but.
Okay. Wow.
Alright.
So it's gonna be like
We'll
I'm
do this.
talking to nobody.
Alright, looks like things are good to go. So I am going to leave you at
Right.
that. The stream is going.
Good. Well, this will be real personal, hopefully, and you know, I'll try not to embarrass anybody, but at the same time, you guys signed in.
Yes.
We'll put that maybe down here on the end if anybody else comes in.
It does look like when you're ready for the class to end, just come over to the computer and hit stop streaming.
All right.
You'll
And
find
if it's locked out, I'll find you or someone else. To...
Yes, from what I see, there's no password on it.
Okay.
So.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. My notes. All right. So first things first. Does everybody know what an inside sales agent is? Any idea what that is? ISA, inside sales agent. No.
I would assume it's somebody sitting there, like, just dialing and inside the organization. You're not going outside on the street. You're just
Yeah.
taking these telemarketing.
So there's inside sales agents. There's outside sales agents. They can do both. They can leave the building and go call people. They can stay inside and call. Most of my calls were outbound calls, so I was calling different lead sources, and so a lot of that when I first started was expired listings and calling those. And the first year I did that, we closed 20 of the listings that I called and set up. And Lucas was my agent, so it was nice to have someone that was that good to send out and have them do that. I worked with Kendall, she was one of my listing agents. Brandon Vidal was another one. Paige was Kaminsky at the time. I'm blanking on Paige's name, sorry Paige. Also, who else? Danielle Hansen was another that I did. And so I would set appointments for other people. They would go, they would secure the listing, and then if they sold the listing, I got 10% of the commission from that. So I got a salary and a commission, and that was really how I started in real estate. You had to be a licensed agent to do that. And so the first, was it 5 years, 4 years for sure, that's what I did. And was pretty busy with it. I brought on new agents and trained them and stuff too. As sales director, hiring, I was doing a lot of that for those 3 teams, helping them hire. There's a process that Keller Williams uses called, what is it called? I forget what it's called. I don't know. Anyways, I went through all the trainings for that and did it. There's a lot of different tools and things that you use to do the training or to hire people, and so I got really good at using those too. And then COVID hit when I was working with Zach's team with the Neo, ended up leaving their team, joining Ginger's team, and hi Russell, there's a sign in here and a paper right here too. And so ended up doing some flips with my wife. We did a few of those and have done, I think we've done a total of 3 right now. We would do some more. It's just kind of about finding the right properties to do them with, you know. And then decided to go back into teaching, and so I kept selling real estate part-time, kept my license up during that time. Actually had one of the years that I was teaching, I think I sold like 8 homes or something like that and taught full-time. But then decided in June of 24 to jump in full-time, and that full-time I ended up selling 6 homes by the end of December. The next January I sold 3, and we ended up with 16 this year that we're going to have sold. And so, yeah, I would call it a good little career in real estate after leaving education, and it's been good. I've enjoyed it. I put my contact information on there. I think you guys have my cell phone number. There's my email addresses too. But feel free if you have any questions about things. I'm pretty open. I still see myself as a teacher. I like to help people, and so anytime anybody needs any help, call. And if I can't help, I'll just tell you, hey, I'm busy right now. I can't help, and when I can get to it, I definitely will. All right. So warm-up questions. You got 3 questions there. Are you consistently making calls now? You can just kind of write that down or whatever. What emotions, what do you feel when you think about calling prospects? What do you feel? And then why are you in the class today? So let's just take a couple minutes right now and write things down, and then if everybody's brave enough, we'll have people share out what those are. While you're doing that, I am going to do some little things here. So make sure that you follow the TCPA rules and that you're not calling people that are on the do not call list, and that you have written consent required prior to telemaking calls and things if they are on the do not call list. Okay, so make sure you pay attention to the do not call list. We'll talk a little bit about that as we go on with the class. But what'd you guys write down? What are you making calls right now?
Not daily.
Not daily. No, not daily. No? Okay. I'd love to tell you daily I make calls. I don't. So just like anybody else, I get there's times when I feel like making calls, there's times when I don't, there's times when there's enough stress going on in my life that I definitely don't want to make any more calls and stuff. But if I talk to 72 people, I get a closing. So if I talk to 72 people, I get a closing. So take that 72, divide it by 5. What is that? Brandy, there's a sign in here and a
14.
sheet if you want to grab one of those.
Like 14 point something.
Is it?
I think so. I don't know. I didn't do it in my calculator. I did it in my head.
All right, let's figure this out.
15 point something.
15 point something. I think that's what I was thinking. It was about 15.
Maybe. I don't know.
72 divided by 5 is 14.4.
Ha.
So
No, sorry.
let's say around 15. How many of you think you could call and talk to 15 people in a day? Right? And so how many of you think you could do that for 5 days in a week? So for me, if I do that for 5 days consistently, I should have a closing per week, which would equal, up to 50 depending on how many weeks I take off of work on the year. But I just told you I'm closing 16 deals, okay? So my average phone calls per day is not 15. And so let's talk about what gets in the way of that. What are some of the emotions you think about when calling prospects?
Fear.
Huh?
Fear.
Fear, okay, yep, fear is a big one.
I'm like,
Okay,
Yeah.
Maybe
like suffocated.
Uncertainty.
Uncertainty.
Yeah.
Uncertainty.
I procrastinate.
I think if there's a
Procrastinate, push it off, find something else to do that maybe you like doing a little better than making phone calls.
just nerves.
Nerves.
Anxiety.
reason, if you have a reason, it's way easier in my opinion to actually have a reason to call up. Like if there's something that's typically my biggest issue, especially with like cold leads. Like
Yeah.
so they're strangers. They don't know you. You don't know them.
They don't know you, they don't know you. How many of you think it would be easier to call a stranger than call a friend? How many of you think I'd rather just call somebody I don't even know than call someone I know that might judge me for how I'm calling? You're there? Okay. That's definitely where I was at. When I was working with Lucas Howard Group, I was also an Amway distributor, and so I was used to calling people and talking to my friends about business and stuff like that. And I felt like, oh, if I call my friends, they're going to be like, oh, this is just one more thing that Kirt wants us to do. And so there was some of that fear resonating in my head. And so in my role as an inside sales agent, I really signed up for that role to help me be less afraid calling on the phone. I figured it would help me with that if I wanted to be in sales at all. It would help. Shut this door.
Sure. So Kirt, when you say you get a certain amount of closings from your calls, so are you thinking that all of your closings come from making calls?
So they're not all from phone calls. That's from my contacts that I have. And so some of those contacts are face-to-face contacts. Some of them are text messages. Some of them are Facebook messages. But it's a two-way conversation about real estate with somebody, or a definite reach with the intention of connecting with somebody. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Why are you in class today? What do you want out of this class?
So I've been doing a lot of rearranging kind of like what I'm doing in order to get those face-to-face contacts. So I've been doing a lot of face-to-face at diners and stuff every
Yep.
morning of the week. But there's some days where I'm not feeling great, kids are sick, I don't have a babysitter available, whatever. And
Yeah.
those are days where I'm not getting out in front of people.
Yep.
So being able to have some sort of script or, some sort of, just a little bit of clarity on the calls, just for days where I'm not able to get out, just to kind of supplement for.
We're going to give
those.
you not only the best days to call, but the best times of day to call too, to make it more effective. So that will help you as you're thinking about stuff. If you're going to make a schedule that goes with that, be strategic, right?
Yeah, because,
So,
well, my thought was, because I don't have like a dialer or anything, and I used to do calls a lot more consistent every day. I'd set two hours at the evening or whatever to do them between like 3 and 5 or 4 and 6 or
Yep.
something. But I wasn't getting 15 people answering most
Sure.
of the time. It took me 2 hours, and I was maybe getting 50 dials just because, you gotta look them up, manually call them,
Yep.
wait for the rings, wait for the voicemail, leave your
Yep.
voicemail. So it wasn't as time effective, I didn't feel
Right.
at first. So that was another kind of
absolutely.
that led into
What
it.
else? Why else are people here today?
I haven't had much luck with cold calls, and I don't really call people from my database. So,
Okay.
because I don't know what to say. I don't know what
Okay.
to bring to the table
Yeah.
for that. So.
I am like way brand new, so.
Way brand new.
Really haven't even started that
You don't even
process,
know what questions to
I've
ask
been
yet.
going through the orientations and the
Right.
usernames and the passwords and
Yeah.
it's like, hey, I
But you passed your tests, right?
did.
Yeah.
That's always
Half the battle.
the big thing there. Yeah, no, that's great. Susan, how about you?
I'm just learning what to say,
Yeah.
how to have a script. And Russell, are you calling people that you know, or are you?
When I was doing it, it was mainly just random. I'd get a list from a little section of a neighborhood from
Yep.
The desk there, and just kind
Oh.
of call them. Because another thing is that kind of deterred me away from it, because at first I don't think they were scrubbing the list like when I first started doing it. So I was like possibly just calling people I shouldn't have been, because I noticed there's
Yeah.
a lot of people that are sign
Yeah.
up for that do not call list once you get a list. So
Yeah.
so that was something that
I'll
kinda
give you
scared
some
me a little bit.
strategies with that too that you can use so that you don't have to worry about making calls to people that are on the do not call list. At least you can say honestly that, hey, I've gone through this and checked and tried to remove everybody that was on the do not call list, and I can show you kind of how to do that. So
These are not people in your database. You're just making random.
we're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about it.
Oh.
All right. So blank is a normal response for doing something new. What do you think would go in there?
Fear.
Fear.
Fear, yes. Fear's the one there. It's normal to be afraid if you're doing something you haven't done before. Blank helps reduce, I'll give you that first one, fear, and blank. What helps reduce fear?
Practice.
Practice helps reduce fear. And what do you think the last one is? It's kind of a cousin to fear.
Anxiety.
Anxiety, yeah. Any anxious people here?
Me.
I have a son that really deals with anxiety, and it's amazing if I can tell him ahead of time what's going to happen, how much his anxiety goes down, right? So just sometimes the unknown is way scarier than what we know. Okay, blank and blank help to almost eliminate fear is the last one there. blank and blank helped
Breathing.
almost. Breathing, yeah, it can, definitely. Exercise can help too. Taking action helps eliminate fear. But what do you think are the two here?
Consistency?
Nope, I like it. That's gonna be one that we do down the road here. Skill and experience help almost eliminate fear. Do you find that if you're good at something, it's not as scary? If you've done it a lot, it's not as scary? Like, I used to sing all the time in front of church. And I started like when I was 7, all the way through as an adult. And people would be like, "Aren't you scared?" And I'm like, "No." Because I'd been doing it my whole life. I wasn't nervous. I enjoyed it. I had a skill. I had practiced the songs that I was singing. And so it wasn't nearly as nerve-wracking as someone who is just thrust up in front of people and, hey, you're going to have to lead everybody in this song, right? Can you imagine getting drugged down to the center of an arena and say, "Hey, can you sing the Star Spangled Banner here?" No, you'd be terrified, right? Unless your name's like Alicia Keys or something. Okay. This is the key one. If there's anything you remember about making phone calls and lead generation, this is what I want you to remember. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be consistent. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be consistent. What do you think that means?
Because with regular practice, just consistency and in time blocking and making yourself do it, it'll teach you how to be better skilled.
Yeah.
Focusing on being perfect is gonna hurt you more than it helps.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got my bold manual here. I'd highly recommend you guys do the bold class. But there's a thing in there that they talk about this art class where they had 2 different tracks for the art students that were in it. One track, you had to try to make as many vases as you could out of clay, and you were going to be graded on the quantity of vases that you made during this period of time. The other portion, it was based on how beautiful your vase looked, what it looked like. And wouldn't you know it, the people that made the most had the most beautiful looking vases at the end, because they had practiced more than anybody else.
Right.
And so they had gotten the skill, they'd learned through doing how to make the best vases, where the other people were so focused on trying to turn out something perfect, they wouldn't do as many. And in that, it was more difficult. All right. I'm going to have you turn the pages, a couple pages here. We're going to go back to this outline. I want you to take a second. Look at this. This is the best practices for lead response management. This is it was published in the Harvard Business Review, and you can see in little letters there, the research of James Oldroyd, PhD, visiting research fellow at MIT, and David Elkington. So go ahead and look at those things there. And you're trying to find the 4 things there. What are the best days to call? What are the best times to call? What is the best response time? What should it be under? It says persistence is key. How many times should people call a lead? Or how many times do most people call a lead? How many times should you make? Okay, so go ahead and see if you can find those 4 on your own. Sorry, this is a teacher part of me. Okay, did you figure out the best days to call?
Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesdays and Thursdays. So Russell, you talked about getting a hold of people. If you're calling on Wednesdays and Thursdays, you should have a higher pickup rate than on Monday, Tuesdays, or even Fridays. Okay, so you definitely talk to more people on those days. I will tell you this too, Sunday nights are a great night to get a hold of people. If there's somebody you haven't been able to get a hold of, Sunday nights, most people are home because they're getting ready for that work week next week, okay? I'm not saying make that your call time all the time. I'd like to keep Sunday as my day off, but it's also a really good time to get a hold of somebody. And if there's that one person that you're like, I need to get a hold of this person, Sunday nights work too. Best times to call. What are the best times that you should call?
4 to 5 p.m.
4 to 5 p.m. How many of you want to be on the phones at 4 to 5 p.m.? Not me necessarily, okay? But I find myself, if I'm putting off all my calls, that's about the time that I usually end up picking up the phone and saying, all right, I got to knock these out and do this. And so 4 to 5. And if I don't have any appointments scheduled for meeting with clients, for going and meeting with people for coffee or anything like this, it's usually a time that I can do things. 4 to 6, if you look at that thing on there, is really the highest times that you can. Even that time from 4 to 6 is slightly better than the next best, which is like 8 to 9 o'clock. 9 to 10 is a decent time to call. And then the worst times to call, we should point that out too, are 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Can you still get a hold of people during that time? Yeah, absolutely. It's just going to take you more call attempts to reach somebody than what you would if you were calling in those peak time periods. All right, key response time. Response time is if somebody registers online and says, I'm looking at houses and here's my information, how quickly should you get to them? Or if they're calling your phone and they don't get a hold of you but leave a message, how quick should you return a call? So how fast should your return time be? Under 5 minutes. And the key stat there is 5 minutes to 10 minutes. It's a 40 or 400% decrease in whether or not you'll get a hold of them. 400. Now this study was on 100,000 phone calls and was on 15,000 unique leads. So that's where that's coming from. But that's what they found in this. And for the most part, you can see that. Like, you want to be a good real estate agent, the first thing you need to do is when your phone rings, pick up your dang phone. Okay? Pick it up. Answer it. Hi, this is Leah. Who do I have the pleasure of talking to today? If you don't know who it is, just, yeah. Hi, this is Leah. Who's this? No. But answer the phone. Nothing's more frustrating when you're trying to get a hold of an agent and they won't pick up their phone. And so quickly, a lot of people make decisions or not about who their realtor is going to be based on if they answer their phone or not. And so if you can't answer it right then because you're on the phone, or like today I was in a meeting when somebody messaged me, make sure you message them back at least. Give them a message, shoot them a text back that says, in a meeting, on a call, I will call you at such and such a time, if you can be specific. And most people, that totally satisfied them. They heard from you, they got a hold of you, they know that you care. You can't always do that, but if you can focus on within the first 5 minutes, things are going to go better. All right, persistence is key. Everybody circle that one. Remember, you don't have to be perfect, but we do have to be consistent. Persistence is key. How many times do most people call leads? So if you look at this, how many times do most agents call? Or most reps, or most person? I'll give you a hint. It's in number 4. It's on the bottom there. So if you look, one attempt is the highest attempt on here, right? That's 40% make at least one call. You know why we start at 40%? Because like 60% of these don't even get called. Some people don't ever call the leads that come in. You have somebody register on your site, call them. Call them in within 5 minutes if you can. If you have somebody Facebook message you, hey, I'm interested in a house, get back with them. Now, I call him my brother-in-law. He's actually my wife's cousin's husband. That was really specific. Maybe I'll be careful with it here. So you can get a call from somebody you know, and if you answer that right back, they're going to pick up. But if you're delayed in getting it back to them, you're not going to connect. And so I've got a call to see a house, and it's one of my clients, and we just haven't connected. And I've sent messages and things like that. But do you think I'm going to let that one go? No, I'm going to stay with it. So today it's on my list. I've got 2 texts out. I had a text to them, so I'll make some calls today and make sure that I get a hold of them. So
Check your spam folder. I've had someone message me a question in my Facebook spam folder I found there that was like a month old.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll pop in
Yep.
random spots like that.
All right. How many attempts should you make to speak with a lead? 1 or 2? 6. If you get up to 6 attempts, you should hit 90% of the people that register or that you're trying to get a hold of. And so if you're making calls and you can't get a hold of somebody, don't delete them. Don't get them out of your list until at least 6. And sometimes with those, I put a group off to the side and I'll call them back again. And sometimes you just call the right time and they pick up. So, all right. How does this data change the way you think about your calling schedule? Did it make a change for you as far as what you're thinking about, how you're calling people and what you're doing?
I think that the best time to call was surprising to me.
Okay.
I was thinking that it was more the morning hours.
Yeah. Yep. And it's either the early morning hours, right? Like the earliest you probably should call is 8 o'clock. You shouldn't call before that. I think it's illegal actually to call before that. But 8 to 9 is the earliest block. That 9 to 10 is a really good window too to call. But then the afternoon, 4 to 5. Can you make calls up to 9 p.m.? Absolutely. Should you make calls up to 9 p.m.? Probably not gonna get as many responses as you are when people are thinking about leaving work. Calls create blank faster than emails and texts. What do you think?
Trust.
Yes, trust. Calls create trust faster than email or text. You don't get facial expressions, right, on a call, but you can hear tone, you can hear inflections, you can hear whether or not someone sounds sincere or not. How many of you can tell right away if the person you're talking to on the phone is AI and not a real person? Like, I can tell right away, right? That the best one, I was on hold for something and she wanted to know what the weather was like in Michigan. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you about that. Okay, let's talk about your hobbies then. And I'm just like, oh gosh, please stop. All right, people appreciate human connection. Human connection. All right, flip the page. This is probably the biggest reason why none of us like to make calls. You're not calling to blank, you're calling to connect. What are you not calling to do? I'll give you a hint.
Sell.
It starts with, sell's a good one, that's, I would put there too. Starts with a C though.
Chat.
Huh?
Chat.
Not chat, that's a good not to. Convince, you're not trying to convince anybody when you call, you're trying to make a connection. Especially when you're calling your SOI, it's really about the connection you have with that person. How many of you are afraid to call people that you know because you haven't talked to them in a really long time? Right? It's okay to call people that you know that you haven't talked to in a really long time and just say, hey, I was thinking about you. I'm sorry we haven't kept in contact like I feel like I should have. How are you? And just be quiet and let them talk. And 90% of those people are going, oh man, it's a two-way street. I've thought of you too and I haven't called and I'm sorry too. How you been, you know? And you just start that. Well, I'm gonna give you a structure to use for calling people that you know. The structure is called form or forward, and it's family, occupation, recreation, motivation / dream. Okay? Family, occupation, recreation, motivation / dream. Okay? This is a great form to use, and if you use it with people that you know, you're not gonna have really the issues communicating with people that sometimes you have. Sometimes conversations will stall. It's really rare for it to stall when you're using this. Would I use this on people that I don't know? Not often, unless I'm meeting somebody like at church or somewhere like that. If it's face to face, then it makes sense to use it. But if you're on the phone and you don't know somebody, I'm not going to ask them about their family. That sounds a little creepy, or what they do for a living or those kinds of things, okay? So who wants to be my volunteer? Anybody want to volunteer?
What are we volunteering for?
I'm going to do a call with you. You're going to be the person I call, and then you just respond to my call.
All right.
Yeah? All right. Brandy, I'll call you. So I always put my phone up like this and say ring, ring, and that's me dialing you, and you answer just like it
Is
was.
this cold call or do you know me?
I know you.
Okay.
I'm going to go through this occupation like
Okay.
this. All right. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hello, Brandy?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Kirt. How are you?
Good. How are you? Long time no hear.
Yeah, I know it has been a long time, and I'm sorry about that. Hey, tell me what's new with your family. How are you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing pretty good. We actually moved into our house this fall, and kids are growing up. School's going good. Careers are going well. Everything's pretty good. How about
Okay.
you?
Yeah, no, we're doing well. I've got 2 kids that are already out of the house. I've got 3 that are still living here. One's that's still in high school. And then I've got 3 grandkids now. Did you know that I had 3 grandkids?
No, I did not know
I know.
that.
I don't seem old enough to have 3 grandkids, but I do. How about your kids? Are they still in school? Are they out of school?
Yeah, I have one still in school. She's in 7th grade now and cruising
Okay.
along, so.
7th grader. Rough.
Preteen.
Yeah, definitely. Now remind me, where are you working? What are you doing for a living?
Ooh, throw a curveball there. I'll use my husband. I'm working at Amazon.
Okay.
Doing senior operations.
Nice. What does that entail? What do you do?
So it's manager of managers of associates.
Okay. So you're like in the upper management there,
Yeah.
helping people out
Yeah,
there.
A little bit stressful sometimes.
Yeah. Is it in person or is it over the phone? What is it?
No,
kind of
it's
remote?
in person.
Okay.
It's in a building, so there's the commute and then just handling all of the managers in the building and keeping things running.
That's crazy. Now, how long have you been doing that?
9 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you start in that position or did you start doing something
No,
else?
worked my way up. Started as an area manager, worked
Okay.
up to ops, and then to senior ops.
Wow. Wow. Do you like it?
It's not bad.
Okay.
I mean, you have your good leaders and your bad leaders, and people are people, but overall, it's been pretty good.
No, that sounds cool. Like I drive by the building down on 76th Street. I don't know if that's what it is. And it's pretty crazy how big it is. I
Yeah,
didn't
it's
realize.
huge. It's huge.
I didn't
Easy to
realize.
get your 10,000 steps a day.
I bet. Well, that's cool. Now, are you guys? We got the holidays coming up. Are you guys taking off, going anywhere for Christmas time, or,
No,
or doing
probably
anything like that?
just hanging out. Not gonna be able to make it back home this year, but we'll just enjoy our little family together.
Okay, very cool, very cool. Now, a lot of times while you're asking these, people will ask you the same questions back. Like I asked her how she was doing. She asked me about my kids, family that way. She hasn't done the same thing with occupation, so I haven't really gotten to go there. I asked her about the holiday because that's something that's coming up right now, and so now I might just say, yeah, we're staying home too. We went somewhere over Thanksgiving, but we're just planning on staying home. It should be a low-key Christmas. It'll be fun watching the grandkids open their presents this year. Then now you can get to, you've built all this rapport. Now you can go to whatever your motivation or dream is or whatever it is, or you can ask them about theirs. And so, Brandy, I know you said you guys just bought a house this year. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know if you knew this, but I'm a real estate agent. Did you know that?
I think I heard that through the rumor mill, but I don't know too much about it. What's
Yeah.
going on in your world?
Well, I'm really mad that you didn't use me to help buy your house. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just think it's great that you guys bought a house. Would you know anyone else that may be thinking about buying or selling a house this year?
I might be able to come up with somebody if I thought real hard, but off the top of my head, I can't think of
Yeah,
anyone.
no, that's fine. That's totally fine. Well, I'll tell you this. I know you probably have an agent that you love and trust that you use. But if not, I would love to help you with anything in the future if you need anything. And it doesn't have to be buying or selling your house, because that's what I do for a living. I have lots of connections with people that repair houses, that insure houses, that do all kinds of things around homes. And so if you ever have any questions about any of this stuff, just give me a call. I'd love to help you. Okay?
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. We may finish out that basement, so.
Okay.
If you have some good
I do.
hookups.
I have
I'll
some
hit
really
you
good
up.
guys. My wife and I, Patty and I, did 3 flips over the last couple of years, and so we've got a great team that we use for that, and they're very affordable. And so
Nice.
I don't mind sharing as long as I'm not using them during that time. And so, yeah. And so, all right. Well, it was so good talking to you, Brandy. You guys have a great Christmas. Let's try to connect again if that's all right.
All right, sounds good. Let's do that.
Perfect. All right. Have a good day.
You too, bye-bye.
All right. What do you hear? What do you hear when you hear that conversation? What's scary for you? What's not? What's good? What do you think's bad? Any of those things. Who wants to give us a little bit of critique, feedback?
Sorry, I didn't ask you a question.
That's okay.
Because of the premise of you ask the question and then you be quiet. So I was like, okay, I'll just keep going.
That's all right. And that's what I want to do. I want the other person to talk more than me. It's just usually when you ask about the job, you get to a point where you're just like kind of done talking about yourself, right? And then you ask the other person. But any thoughts? Comments?
I feel like it'd take a little bit of practice to really transition into the real estate side of things when asking.
Yeah.
That'd probably be the biggest.
Yep. And you don't
biggest
have to.
practice on.
Like the first call, if I haven't talked to Brandy in years, I'm not going to bring up real estate. I might say, hey, congrats on your house. Who helped you buy it? If she asked me about hey, you used to teach, right? Yeah, I did. What are you doing now? I'm like, well, actually, it's funny you ask. I'm a real estate agent. Oh, really? Yeah. You used me to sell your house? No, I'm just kidding. I'm really not that vengeful with it. And you're going to find there's lots of people that don't use you to buy and sell houses. But there's lots of people out there that you don't know that will if you talk to them. And so, as far as my tone, what kind of tone did you feel like I had with her when I was talking?
Confident.
Confident? Okay.
Jovial.
Jovial?
Interested.
Interested, right?
Not about selling, it was.
Wasn't about selling.
Conversational.
Conversational. You just want to be genuine. Be yourself. That's really what it comes down to. Be yourself. After I talked to Brandy, if she hadn't said we just bought a house this year, what I might ask her down the road is questions like, hey, how long have you guys lived at your house, right? And we've lived there 10 years. Okay. Do you still love it? Are you guys thinking about making any moves in the future? How soon do you think you could see yourself making a move? That's an easy question to answer. Oh, we're not going anywhere until our 7th grader graduates from high school. But you'd be surprised how many people, when all the rest of the kids are out of the house, they start going, we don't need this big house. We're going to move. I love finding people that have been in a house anywhere from 5 to 10 years because they're probably thinking about that next house. So it's just a lot of questions. That's mostly what I did, was just ask questions. And I asked questions based on where I wanted things to go or based on what Brandy said.
Oh, you were following the structure.
Mm-hmm. But if you've listened, I asked you lots of follow-up questions to what you said.
Right, you
And
were
when she
going
told me,
deeper.
yeah, when she told me about Amazon, I didn't say, oh, that's cool. Well, you guys going on any vacations this year? You know, no, it was a follow-up question. So get yourself in the habit of asking layers deeper. Think of that onion. You want to keep peeling that onion back to find more things out that you can. Her kid that's at home, what grade are they in? 7th grade. Oh, 7th graders. Yeah, we shared a moment there because I know what stinky 7th graders are like. She knows what stinky 7th graders are like. And so there's a connection that happens just from knowing what a 7th grader can be like. And so you're looking for those commonalities. What's easy to do, and you have to be careful not to do, is go too deep into your own personal things and share those there. If they're asking and they're truly interested, by all means share with them, but just you want to be careful not to go too far. All right, here's what we're going to do. You have to pick a partner. So we've got Brandy, we've got Leah, we've got Susan, and we've got Russ. Why don't you guys just turn around and share with each other, and I want you to do one of these calls. And so Brandy, we'll let you make the call. I don't know if you want to, well, you two are right there. Maybe Russ, you turn around and you and Brandy call. That sound good? All right, do a practice call.
Right. Or do we flip after we're done? Like,
Yeah, you can. You might not get all the way through it before I have you guys flip, but that's okay.
Okay,
Alright, do you want to be the caller? Do you want-
you go first.
Okay. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, is this Susan?
Yeah, it is.
Hi, Susan. I was just calling to see how you were.
You know me? Or you
Yeah.
know me?
Yeah, I
Okay,
think so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my gosh, this is Leah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I know, it's been a long time. Sorry I haven't been keeping up with
Oh,
you.
you've been on my mind for some reason.
How has your family been?
Oh, you know, kids are grown and 2 are out of state and 1 is in state, but another.
All right, freeze for a second. I'm gonna stop you guys right now. Kurt's like uber critical about how people talk on the phone. Okay, some of you started these phone calls with phone voices. I hate phone voices. Hi, this is Kurt. How are you? If you heard me talk to Brandy, I didn't do that at all. I might have started like, "Hey, Brandy, how's it going?" Like that might have been the gist of it, but don't get up in this high-pitched area where you're talking up here all the time, okay? Get to your normal voice. It took Susan, I'm going to pick on her for a little bit.
Yes.
She started here, and it didn't get until about the 4th time she said something where her voice came down to normal. You want to be in the normal voice as much of that phone call as possible, okay? Because it's genuine. If your voice is going high, it sounds fake. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm going to especially make you two start again. I didn't hear you guys so much
Yeah,
back
we
there.
both did
All right.
that.
Go ahead.
I'm just excited.
I did that
From you
as a
guys.
server a lot,
Financial
so-
escalation.
Okay.
Trust me, I got
Let's
busted a
restart.
lot when I was starting.
Let me think how to start this.
You
Okay.
can start high if that's your normal one, but go quickly into how you normally talk.
Yeah, okay. And you just start by saying like, hey Susan, like long time, like how have you been?
Yeah, whatever you would normally say. If it's somebody you haven't talked to in a while.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi Susan. Oh, already hi. Hi Susan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks. I was just calling to check in. I haven't talked to you in a long time.
I'm sorry, I don't know who this is.
Oh, my name isn't in your phone?
No.
This is Leah. This is Leah.
Oh.
You know each other, Susan. Make it
Yeah,
easier.
I know.
Stairs here and there.
Yeah, well, I haven't heard from you in a long time.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that. I was just calling to check in and see how you and your family were doing, what you're up to these days.
Yeah, it's great to hear from you. You're
So,
actually on my mind.
Love it.
Oh, family, you know, as you get older, your family seems to get further away from you.
Yeah.
They're involved in their own lives, you know.
Yeah, what are your kids up to?
Oh my gosh, 2 live out of state. One is in Washington DC and the other in Arizona, and then my daughter lives in Grand Rapids, which is eternally great.
Oh yeah, yeah. What are they all all do? What are they doing out there?
Oh, gee, Brooke is on the hill and she's been working on the hill for a while. She's always about promoting things. That's what I think. Yeah, her latest job though is she's working on the coalition on behalf of Zoo Consortium, so, and it's been really interesting. And Pat is out there doing this golf course thing. He's working for Stone Canyon and.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool. How did you get into that?
You know, that is really funny because back in
All right,
high school.
3, 2, 1. I'm gonna have you stop what you're doing. Awesome. All right. The person who is making the phone call, you're calling your friend to connect. I want you to be quiet and listen for a second, and I want the other person, whoever they call, to give them 2 put-ups, okay? 2 things that you thought they were doing well, okay? So think about what they were doing well, what you liked about the call, and tell that person, all right?
The voice
You
control
were
was
expressing interest
very
in
good.
it. You were asking deeper questions. Could you expand on it?
I know.
You did not raise your voice.
Okay.
It's more professional.
And then give them one to grow on, okay? Something to grow on.
Well, I think my biggest problem in having conversations is I'm really chatty, and so I felt as if I was really running away with the story, getting too in depth.
Okay, so I need to keep you on track?
Maybe,
Okay.
I mean, 'cause, like, when we did our phone calls in here, and it was taking forever, I had like 20 phone calls compared to like 300.
Well, I was doing text.
Well,
when we
that
did
is
that,
true,
but-
that is true, but I have a tendency to be chatty. So
Leah talks fast too, so.
I
Yeah.
talk fast, I do talk fast.
No, Leah does.
Leah talks fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Stumble over my words.
Now let's switch. Go the other person. So now let the other person make a call to you.
Again?
Yep.
I'm gonna try and change it up.
Alrighty.
Hello?
Hello, I'm Leah.
Hi, is this Susan?
Yeah.
It is, it's Susan
It is.
McDonald.
Who's this?
I'm sorry I haven't been in touch with you, I've been thinking a lot about you.
Oh, yeah, wow, I haven't heard from you in so long.
I know, I'm really glad you connect, and I just kinda wanted to check in with you and see how you're doing and how your family is.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Everyone in my family is pretty great. How is your family?
I'm pretty good, I'm pretty good.
I get stuck under
Kids are out of
electric
state and
blanket.
such,
I
yeah.
hibernate for a
So
bit.
how are your parents?
Pretty good. Just, you know, my mom's she's only works part-time, so
Pretty good. We
she
have
just
3
goes to work a couple days a week and then stays with my brother the rest of the week. He's in school, you know.
13 years.
But other than that, I mean, good. They're still.
That is really wonderful, are you living here?
Yeah, I still am. I'm waiting
Starts with the
to,
C.
you know, make enough money in my job to move out because I don't want to rent. So I'm gonna just buy a house when I make enough money for that.
Well, sure, no, I have kids, I totally understand that it's hard out there right now, so, speaking of jobs, what are you doing these days?
How are the youngers feeling about that?
For this case, should I say that I'm in real estate?
No, you can answer
Yes,
both.
absolutely, you're my competition.
Well, I am a dental hygienist.
Russ is a professional perfume smeller, so that was his fake job.
Very good.
That's funny. Yeah, so I've just been doing that for the past year now. So it's still new, but I love it.
That is a great occupation, oh my gosh, I think that is a great foundation.
Yeah.
What dentist office are you working for?
One in Rockford, Wilson and Wilson.
Oh, yeah, you know what, I used to live in Rockford, so my
Okay.
kids went to Rockford High School, absolutely.
Yeah. Where are you living now?
I'm out in Greenville right now, so we're not too far
Right,
from
yeah.
Rockford,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
kinda still in the northeastern Rapids, and how about you?
In Rockford, but like on the very edge, closer to Belden and Greenville, that area.
Yeah,
so.
we can.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
oh my
east
gosh,
side.
sounds like we're pretty close, we should connect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well,
what
I'm
do you
glad
like
to
to
know
do?
I'm glad to know the floor is open, you know, there's a lot we can work with there.
That was kinda open-ended. What do you like to do for fun?
Well,
Maybe
you know,
we can connect.
I hang out with my friends all the time. We love to go and try out new restaurants. We're
So yeah,
always
if it's the real
like
deal, I'm
looking for
happy
new
to share that
food,
with others.
and we're definitely
Give you a little bit of attention.
always going out and trying new things. Other than that, I I've just been working a lot.
Yeah,
like,
I think
recently,
so, you know.
Well, I get that totally, but boy, that foodie thing, I've always wanted to join like a food group, and that is kind of on my bucket list, even with people I don't know. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, yeah, that would be cool. I've never thought of
And
that.
then
So what is
especially
your
with
favorite
a lot of
food?
the
Any
kiddos,
kind of
so much
pasta,
kiddos anymore,
Italian,
moving
I
around
was
for
just
Thanks.
thinking, I don't
Or,
know.
I do like
to have
Mexican as
another
well,
one, you know,
but-
maybe
Wow.
spicy and downside,
Very
or
cool.
before they make that happen.
Hey, you talked about moving outside, not moving your home at some point and away from your
I've actually,
family. Do you have like a goal in mind with that?
I'm thinking within the next like 2 years, hopefully. So, yeah.
Wow, that's really a good goal to have your sights set on.
Mhm.
Yeah, are you thinking of staying in the same area as your folks, or?
Yeah, probably, nearby. Obviously, it wouldn't be, I don't know how Rockford is. Really expensive, so I don't know if I'd be able to afford a house in Rockford for my first house, but, somewhere near.
You're probably in Greenville.
Not too far, yeah, exactly. Greenville's a lot cheaper, so.
It's been so great connecting with you, and I just wanted to mention, recently, I've started a new journey in my life myself. I'm a real estate agent.
Trying to
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
That's exciting. What made you get into real estate?
I really, really love helping people, and I've moved so many times that I just love helping people in that process, and just, I was in banking for a little while, and then it's because I wanted to help people fulfill their dreams. So it's kind of that same thing, I love houses, I love people, so.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, well, listen, I'd love to, still stay in touch with you.
Let me check
Maybe
in,
we can go out and try some Italian food together soon.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, thanks for calling.
Yeah, well, thank you, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
All right, 3,
Don't know how to-
2,
Perfect
1,
time.
0 talking. All right. You can tell what I used to do in my classroom.
Yes.
What
So
grade did you teach?
middle school. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. I would make an example out of one kid. That's usually all it took. So, yep. And after that, they tended to follow on pretty well. All right. So good job again. Watch your voice. There's a lot of different things you can study in phone calls. One of the biggest things that we do when we're not sure about ourselves is we make upswings. Write that down, an upswing. So if I'm not sure if Susan's on the other line, I might go, Susan, right? Like this big, huh? That sounds good, doesn't it? I'm not sure if it sounds good.
You would listen to our conversation.
That sounds good, doesn't it? Hear the difference there when I say doesn't it versus doesn't it? One's a command, one's telling you how it sounds, and your voice, your mind hears it that way.
So my conundrum with this, fully hear you, understand. I think I was more high pitched with that first one. But what if that's like your personality too? Like if it's people that your friends, your SOI.
Absolutely.
Do you still need to control it much more?
You need to keep it conversational. You can definitely have inflection in character in your voice when you're talking to people, and you should. The problem is when we get into a sales call or situation, a lot of us freak out and get into that high register. And you can get stuck there and stay there. So the more you can make it your natural voice, the easier it's going to be for that other person to connect with you. So if your natural voice is more bubbly and spirited and things like that, that's fine. That's not a problem, especially when it's someone like that. All right, we're going to move on to the next class. You guys did a good job on that. The biggest praise I have for anybody is Susan. Right away in the beginning, Leah said, yeah, I'm thinking about buying a house in the next couple of years. And Susan didn't take the bait. She kept asking questions and talking about things. And then it came up later. And then she asked about it. Now, the biggest aha that I would give you to watch is if somebody gives you a timeline, like when they're going to do something, question that timeline. Don't ever just accept it.
Okay.
So, Leah, tell me you're going to buy a house in 2 years.
I'm thinking about buying a house in 2 years.
Okay, awesome. 2 years. Why is 2 years important to you, Leah?
Well, it's not super important, but I just think that'll give me enough time to save up the right amount of money to
Okay.
put a good down payment.
So you're hoping to put down a good down payment?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And what if you could buy a house sooner than that without a big down payment? Would that be something you'd wanna do?
Yeah, possibly, if it was the right house.
Okay, yeah, the only reason I'm asking is I know a few lenders right now that have down payment assistance programs where they'll give you up to like $10,000 towards buying a house. Would that help?
Oh wow, yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know about that.
So her timeline was 2 years, but now that I've asked questions around it, maybe it's 2 years, maybe it's moved up to 6 months if she's confident in this.
How did the parents?
Do you know what I mean? And
Yes.
so then it's like, okay, when's the best time for us to get together? Do you want to get together and talk about it? And if she's like, yeah, absolutely, man, get together and talk about it, go over it. Maybe you meet with her and whoever you've got that's a lender that has that type of program and get those things going. So
Would you mention at all on that phone call at that time, like the risk, like of waiting could lead to higher prices, you know, in a couple of years, it might end up hurting you a little bit more? Or would it kind of just, if they're a little bit more curious about it, maybe?
yeah, I would let the conversation go where it goes, but I would want to get deeper into those things. You know, if she didn't resist me at all when I said, like, what if we could do something earlier? She sounded positive to that. So I don't want to plant seeds of doubt in her head either, right? That maybe you should wait or you shouldn't wait. And I know that you were saying it in the sense of you don't want to wait, but I explored. I found out why, and the reason she told me why was what? Money, right? She's like, I probably just doesn't know how much money do you have to have, right? Most people don't realize you don't have to have 20% to buy a house. They just don't know. You only need to have 3.5% to buy a house. In some places, you don't have to have any. You only have to have enough for your inspection, your appraisal, and that's about it. Any things that come up that need to be fixed, because there's enough programs out there right now that'll let you do zero down. And so if you've got $5,000 saved up, there's a good chance you could buy a house right now. If you've got $10,000 that somebody's going to give you free, that might be the chance there too. And so it just kind of depends on her and her situation. And I'm not going to know unless we sit down. I don't want to talk to her about every single thing that she might need. I just want to give her enough information that she'll get together with me and meet with me, and we'll have an appointment.
So what would you have said if I answered that question like really confidently that I want to move in 2 years? Like, well, I for sure want to have a 20% down. Like, I know there's other
Yeah.
programs, but I for sure want to have 20% down, and you know, I maybe want to be married or something before I move.
Yeah.
So, or something
No,
like that.
I would just listen, right?
Do you have a boyfriend
and
yet?
then I would ask, yeah.
Actually, me.
No, like for this
Like,
scenario.
Yeah,
Do you
right?
have the boyfriend to make the husband?
Are you and Mark that serious? My gosh, you're only 18. No, I'm just kidding. I think.
No, I just made that up.
But I think it's, again, you just ask more questions around it. So whatever the person's talking about. And so I'm not trying to talk you into doing something. I want to know what your objection is so I can talk about the objection with you. Make sure you have all the information. I always tell people, one of my favorite lines to use is this. I want to just make sure you have all the information you need so you can make a great choice. That makes sense, doesn't it?
That felt awkward to me though in this call because I haven't talked to her in a long time. So
Yeah.
that is where my hitch is. I don't know how to continue the conversation or,
You did a great job
You didn't know how to
avoiding it
cut
at
it
the
off.
beginning.
yeah.
But when you came back around and she was talking
know.
about it, you talked about it, you just didn't ask her about that. So and it comes down to questions. That's what selling is, questions.
Yeah.
And selling is solving a problem. So find out what her problem is and then try to solve it. So her problem that I found out was down payment.
Money.
But it might be something different than that.
Mhm.
If I ask the question and she says, you know, I'm really hoping to have 20% down. I'm really want to make sure I have good equity in my house. I'd really like to have a better relationship, you know, or more solid relationship that I'm sure of this is where I'm going and what I'm doing. I can ask questions around that. Yeah. Remind me, you know, Lee, are you dating anyone right now? Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. How long have you guys dated?
About 2 years.
About 2 years? Cool. Are you talking about getting married?
No.
Oh, you
but-
just raised your voice. No,
I did. But why did I do it?
Express interest.
No.
It was a question.
Yep, but it was.
Like command,
It
answer
wasn't.
my
It
question.
wasn't a command.
Excitement.
It wasn't excitement. Are you talking about getting married?
Like you're surprised, maybe?
Surprise, cast a little. How old are you?
19.
19, right? So, I don't know if she's getting married or not. I have a 19-year-old. I don't want him to get married right now.
Right.
She's 19. I wouldn't advise her to get married right now. Not because of her. I don't know her situation. I don't know any of those things.
Right.
But I'm trying to cast a little bit of doubt on that. So an upswing casts doubt. Remember when I told you that? And so when I said, "Are you getting married? Are you guys talking about getting married?" I'm trying to cast a little doubt there. Like, really? Okay. And if she's super oh yeah, we've been dating for 2 years. I've already got my promise ring. You know, we're talking maybe in the fall getting married. You know, I think he's going to ask me the question any time. I'm not going to be like, well, I don't know about that. I'm going to be like, oh, that's so cool, right? And yeah, so tell me about him. What's he do? You know, there's all kinds of different questions I can make that still let me connect with her.
Right.
I don't want to be a jerk about it and just like rain on her parade, but sometimes that upswing is to make someone doubt it. I love doing those with for sale by owners. Yeah, this is it. I just need to get this number and that. And it's like the question I love to ask is, are you sure you're asking enough for your house? Are you sure you're getting all the money that you could sell it on your own? Because then they're like, why do you think I could get more than this? And I can say, you know what, I don't know. I haven't run the numbers on your house, but I can tell you we could sit down and you could compare what I have to what you have. That makes sense, doesn't it? Right?
I would react.
And so then people are like, oh yeah, you know, maybe we should. So there's times when you want to cast doubt in people's mind. There's times when you want to cast confidence. And those upswings a question with an upswing creates doubt. A question with a downswing expresses confidence. And this is what you should do. Okay? Does that help? All right. Circle prospecting calls. I got you a list on here. If you go down back in here, there's a script. I'm going to give you my cold calling neighborhood script. Okay, so let's read this one through here.
Where is this?
We are on the page after that one. It says cold calling neighborhoods looking for listings.
Okay.
Confused and slow. That's how I want you to sound. All right? I'm going to read it out loud. You can just follow on for right now. Hello, this is Kirt from Keller Williams North. I was hoping you could help me out. I'm trying to reach homeowner at 123 Main Street. Did I call the right person? You hear that upswing? Did I call the right person? Yeah, that's me, but I'm not interested in selling my house. Oh, perfect. I live just down the road from you, and I don't want to sell my house either. I love our neighborhood. But I do have some buyers who'd like to live in our neighborhood, and I was curious, do you have any neighbors who may have mentioned wanting to sell their home? I can't think of anybody. That's not a problem. I appreciate you thinking about it. I know you said you're not looking to sell your home. However, many people do see themselves making a move in the future. Or I could just say, however, is there a time when you could see yourself moving? So what I usually say is this: what's the earliest you could see yourself moving from your current home? And then I'm just quiet. I just listen. Maybe in 6 months after my kid graduates. Never, I'm going to die here. Believe it or not, I get that all the time from old people. I I hope I can live here for the next 20 years. I am already listed. My house is on the market right now. I'm so excited that you called me because you're looking for a buyer for houses, right? So that happens too. Sometimes you'll call these lists and you'll actually get some in if their home's on the market. And I'm going to tell you how to get out of that so you don't get in trouble. So then the next thing is ask for a permission if it's this year. If their timeline is more than 6 months out, ask for permission to follow up. Ask if they need a home valuation to find out what their home is worth. Those who say they're going to die there, I just tell them I hope that's a long ways off. You know, I laugh with them. I say, you know, I hope that that's a long ways off. And then the other one that I like to do, if someone's chatty, I feel like I have a good connection, I say something like, hey, I can send you a monthly email that shows the houses that are going on the market in the neighborhood. Would that be of value to you? Did you hear how I asked that question? I didn't say, would that be of value to you? I said, would that be of value to you? And people are more likely to agree with it in that downstroke than they are if you do it with a big upswing.
What was the value you offered? The monthly?
On the monthly email, so if you got Command, there's a smart plan in there that gives out a monthly neighborhood update. And so I like setting people up on those. Because if they see the homes that are selling in their neighborhood, there's a good chance they could see that and be like, oh, yeah, and so-and-so's house just sold there. Mine's nicer than theirs. I would think I could sell mine for $500,000 now, right? And so they might tell you, and it's branded, it's got your name on it and stuff, and so.
Where is that in Command?
It's in Command, it's in the smart plans.
Smart what?
Smart plans.
So there's a
I can show it to
bi-weekly
you.
and a monthly, right?
There's a bi-weekly, there's a monthly. I use a monthly one.
Me too.
Unless I know they're selling quicker, the monthly tends to be good enough. Okay, so let's back up here. Hello, this is Agent from Brokerage. I was hoping you could help me out. I'm trying to reach so-and-so, the homeowner at the address. So here's a list. I've got a list here of all of these numbers that Rebecca just printed off for me. And they've got addresses, names. Some of them are on the do not call list. They got a DNC right next to them. Some of them say okay by them. And so what I typically do, I get it in, everybody know what a CSV file is? No? Okay. CSV file is the raw information that goes into a spreadsheet. Okay. In a spreadsheet, what I can do in a Google form is I can put a filter at the top of these, and then I can sort them. And so what I sort them by is DNC first. And then every number that comes up DNC, I delete that number. I delete it so I don't ever accidentally call it. Everyone that then comes up in an OK, I keep those numbers. And so then I delete all of them that don't have a number that I can call. So the only thing I have left is a sheet that I print out that says they're okay to call. Does that make sense? That way I don't make a mistake trying to call the wrong people. And there's lots of them that come back. Like I've got 4 or 5 here that don't have a number at all on them. Some of them that have email addresses. But I'm gonna call.
So are you inputting all that information into your Google form?
No, I put all this information into a Google spreadsheet. And then at the top of the Google spreadsheet, I can create a filter. And then when I create the filter, I can sort it how I want to and delete stuff. And so I can take a list like this. This has got, I think, like 300 entries to it. I'll take them with 1,000 that have maybe 300 numbers that are good to call, and I'll have it sorted down to what I can actually call. Probably in a half hour I can do that now. You know, so it takes a little bit of work ahead of time if you're going to call a list like this. You're going to have to put some time in ahead of time to make sure you have it the right way. And once you find an area you want to focus on, you can go to Rebecca. She can help you. This one was done. I gave her an address. She did within a quarter mile of that address. You can do a half mile. You can do a mile. You can do 10 miles. Like if I'm calling in Cedar Springs, I'm probably going to do 10 miles. Where if I'm calling in Grand Rapids, I probably want to do a quarter mile. If it's in Wyoming, I might want to do less than a quarter mile. The houses are that close together where I live. And so that's how I would do that.
Well, I like the way this starts off when you're asking, do I call the right person? 'Cause a lot of times the numbers and names and emails and stuff, they don't match
Yeah.
up very great on those lists.
And if I say, a lot of times if I don't have a name, I won't even do the name. I'll say something like this, maybe you can help me out. I'm trying to reach the homeowner at this address. Did I call the right person? And a lot of times people will be like, well, why are you trying to get a hold of them? And I don't even miss a beat. I go right into the next part there. Well, I'm a realtor. Like I said, I'm a realtor, and I have buyers that are looking to buy homes in this area. Or there's lots of buyers that are looking to buy homes in this area, which is true, right? Whether you have them personally, there's tons of realtors out there that want to buy a house in the neighborhoods. And so then the next thing that I say is, I was wondering if you might know somebody, and I try to slow down there so they can really think about it. If you might know somebody, like a neighbor or someone who's talked about maybe selling their house. Do you know of anyone? And then I wait. No, I haven't really talked to anybody. I don't know. Or they might say, well, I'm not selling my house. I like calling around my neighborhood because I know everything that's going on around there, right? I know the price points. I know those types of things. And so that's typically where I'm going to do these cold calls like this. But the other thing you can do, and there's a list here, is you can call around just sold. So if you look at the Nest script, that's on a just sold listing. On the next one, just listed. You list a house and you want to call around that house. I mean, if you have one sign up in a neighborhood, that's great, right? But if you have 3 signs up in the same neighborhood at the same time, do you think more people would call you than call somebody else about selling a house in that neighborhood? Absolutely. Diane Griffith, how many of you know who Diane is? Okay, a couple of you do. Diane was one of the top agents in our marketplace. She was a co-owner of the marketplace at one time. She's slowed her business down quite a bit just to simplify her life a little bit. But she owned East Grand Rapids for a long period of time. When you drove around there, you saw her signs all over the place. And it's because she had that presence that was there. And so if you want to focus on an area, a small area, and get known on that area, this is a good way to do that.
The just listed scripts?
Just listed, just sold, any one of these 3 scripts. This is where you go if you don't really want to call your friends. This is where you go. You don't have a big database. This is where you can go. What are you looking for when you call these? What are you looking for? I'm purposely leaving that open.
People who are willing to talk
Leads,
to you,
people
even
that
if
will
it's
talk to
not
you,
Somebody who's wanting to move.
even if they're not wanting to move.
Because a lot of people don't like to talk to you.
Buyers and sellers.
Buyers and sellers,
I was just gonna say, just any sort of connection that you can
Yeah.
follow up with.
any sort of connection.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know, was everybody in the sales meeting today? Did you hear what I said about Bold? So I called the lady in my neighborhood, talked to her, and she told me after we talked that she would get calls every week about selling her house. And when we talked, when we were done, we left it that I would give her a call in about a month or so and follow up with her about listing her house. She told me she had a house in Allegan to sell. She said, we want to sell this house, but we also need to buy a house. So it's 3 transactions right there. And I'm like, yeah, I could totally help you sell your house in Allegan. I've never sold a house in Allegan. I didn't tell her that. Okay? I didn't know where Allegan exactly is. I didn't tell her that. But I know enough about selling houses and how to look up prices. I was confident I could do it. We ended up selling that house in Allegan for $12,000 more than the house that was exactly like it across the road sold for, because she listened to me about my marketing plan and we priced it competitively and we staged it. I got a 4% commission on that one instead of a 3% to help pay for the staging and my photos, but I can tell you the 4% way covered that. It was not like I made money because of that. But it was all about the connection she felt to me there. The conversation went like this. Hello, this is Laura. Hey Laura, my name's Kirt. I'm a real estate agent from Keller Williams. Hey, I was wondering if you could help me out. I've got some buyers that are looking to buy a home in this neighborhood. Do you know of anybody that might be thinking about selling? And she's like, well, eventually we're going to sell, but first I got to sell this other house. And maybe she's kicking herself now. Oh, I shouldn't have told this guy that, right? And then we got to buy a house, and so she's like, I'm not sure. I'm like, well, that's fine. I said, I live in the neighborhood too. I live down here. I told her the street address and stuff. And I said, you know, when do you think you might be looking to sell your house? And then she got into it more, right? Tell me. I'm like, okay, what's keeping you from selling it now? Tells me what's going on. They've got stuff in this house that they haven't lived in for, I think it was like a year and a half. It's a brand new house. Like they bought it new. It'd only been a year old when they moved into it, and they moved out of it because her job went from Allegan all the way up to North Muskegon. So it made a lot more sense to live in Wyoming than it did to live in Allegan, which was probably a good 2-hour drive for her to get there. And so, yeah, before I could call them and follow up, she called me and said, hey, we got the house ready. Are you ready to come out and list it? I didn't even have to call her and follow up with her. That doesn't always happen. It rarely happens. But it was on my list. It was I had a reminder set to call her like 2 days later after she called me. And so I'm like, well, yeah, I'd love to come out. What works for you guys? You know, am I meeting your husband there too? Like all of these things. And so I go out there and we do it. And so that house ended up selling, I think it was $312,500 is what we sold it for. And the one that had sold previous to that was $300,000. And so sold that house, and then they were ready to start looking at houses. So we bought a $500,000 house in Hudsonville. Well, that was nice, right? That's a big commission. I think the $500,000 at 3% was actually less of a commission than it was close, than the 312 at 4%. It was really close. So we sold both of those, and then I just sold their house on Hazelwood that's in my neighborhood, just a few blocks down, for, I was thinking $250 was what it was going to be. Well, I ran the numbers on it. By this time that we sold it, $285 was where people were listing at, and some of them were getting into the 300s. Well, guess what? I had a really good stager again, and so we ended up at 302. And so we just closed on the last of those houses, and they're thrilled with me. Like, I made them way more money than they thought. We got a price on the house that they didn't think they were going to get, but it was because I made that call. But what you don't hear is I made 300 calls that day, and on that day that I made 300 calls, I was trying to talk to 100 people. That's what I was trying to do. That is not normal, what I'm going to do. I don't try to do that every day, but I could, right? Like I did it one day. I could do it every day if I wanted to. And if I did it every day, what if I had a closing every day of the year, right? Like you can start to do that. So the crazy thing about using your phone as a tool is you can determine how often you have closings. You can determine.
So do people
Do
get
most
annoyed?
people-
Like when you're calling them, do people get annoyed?
Yeah.
Because I get so many spam calls, I'm to the point where I'm like, who is this?
But
I've had enough.
it's how you react to those things
Right.
that determine whether or not they're going to talk to you. And guess what? Out of those 300 calls, do you think some people hung up on me?
I'm sure.
Yeah. But Laura didn't. I had a great conversation with Laura.
Yeah,
That was the only one that mattered for this year, right? I've got 5 more people in there that I would call nurturers. They're people that said, eventually I want to sell my house, but I'm not ready to yet. Put their information in, asked them, can I send you this email every month? Yeah, I'd love that. Okay. So every month an email goes out. Do I call them every month? No. They're on a plan for me to call them 4 times a year. That's it. And if they said, yeah, you know, you don't need to reach out, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably wait even longer. But I don't put them in my database to follow up with unless there's somebody I think that's going to do business in a year, in a calendar year.
Okay. So
Because
you're
I
not
don't,
taking all those names
I
and
don't
just
want,
putting them in
no,
your
I don't want to
database
call all these
to
people all the
bug.
time.
Yeah.
I want to find nurtures. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone that's going to sell their home this year. If they're not going to sell their home this year, I'm probably not going to put them in there. Because you can get so many reminders in your system that you're trying to call
Yeah.
that you don't keep up with them. And then you get overwhelmed and you start to feel bad about yourself because you're not doing what you said you were going to do and all those kinds of things.
That's kind of how my database is, because when I was making the cold calls, I would just
You're
put
putting 'em
every
in.
single one in there after I'd call them, every
Right.
single person in there, so I have a lot of people that,
Oh.
you know, just
Yeah.
completely.
I want them to, one, give me permission to call them back. If they've given me permission to call them back, it's a lot more warm thing. If I have a conversation with you, Brandy, and you've told me that I can call you back, and I call you in 3 months and say, hey, I'm the realtor that spoke to you before, do you think you're going to remember me?
Yeah.
Possibly, right?
I mean,
You're going to remember me over the schmuck that called you a week ago and didn't do that, or have a better feeling about me than that person. And that's what I do. Now, if you couple it, in my neighborhood, I've sent postcards to my neighborhood. I've sent magnets that have my name on them and stuff too. Now, some of those people that I call, they're like, oh yeah, I know who you are. I got your magnet. It's on my fridge. Cool. You know?
Just though the people that you felt were nurturers are the people that you're doing the postcards and the.
I do that to everybody in
Oh,
the
to
neighborhood.
everybody.
Yeah. I had a neighborhood, trying to think of how many we sent out. I don't know. I bet you sent out 500 of them.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, and it's not everybody in there. That neighborhood, a square mile in that neighborhood, there's over 1,000 addresses in that. And I didn't send them all out to all those people. But to a lot of them I did. And so you have to pick and choose. How much are you going to spend doing that? This cost me how much?
Times.
$0. It's heavy on time. It's heavy on time. But if I do this, I know I can reap something out of it. So if I don't have friends to call, if I don't have other people to call, I can control my destiny by making these other phone calls.
I like how you have just the ones to nurture that you have, you know, some confidence and you'll be able to help in the future as well. Because that's gonna, like I said, for my situation, you know, I'm just dialing everyone and anyone, and that's
Yeah.
gonna save a lot of time in the future once you
Absolutely.
get to that point.
Well, and what happens when the ones that are 2 years out, it's been 2 years, now all of a sudden you've got people that are calling you up and saying, hey, Russ, you know, we've talked already. I think it's time. I think I'm ready to do that. Those are easy. Now you just go out and list them. You're not competing with anybody to do it. You just do it. And now if you're continuing to make those calls, you're setting your stage up so that you've got people that are down the road now, people that are here, people that are here. And so all of that starts to come due and you start to see more people in your pipeline and those types of things. And so that was part of my closings this year that went from 6 to 16 was because of people I talked to that first year that were in my SOI that decided not to call. So most of my business comes from my sphere. Most of it comes from the people that I know.
Oh, so not from that.
No,
This is correct.
I've got one person out of hundreds that I talked to that closed this year. So do you have to be perfect to do that? No. You have to be consistent. If you're consistently calling these and looking for people that are ready to go right now. Let's go back to the one. I want to make sure you guys have this one. We're almost out of time.
So the cold
Okay.
calling, neighborhood looking for listings, I mean, so are you following this up at the end of this, like, you wanna keep in touch, can I have your information, I mean, it's not really in your script. How do you ask that person then for their information to put it in your database, I mean, are they pretty amenable to that? Sorry, you know you.
Yeah, so I'm talking to 100 people, and out of the 100 people I talk to, maybe 5 to 10 are okay with that.
Okay.
And feel good about it. And so that's where you have to kind of decide on whether or not they're worth it to put in your database.
Right.
And so it comes down to your conversation. Before I forget, I want to talk about this one. You call somebody and they already have their house listed. It happens. You're calling a neighborhood and you reach Joe below, and Joe has already got his house on the market with Lucas Howard, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm selling my house right now. I'd love to sell it. And here's how I extract myself from that emotion. I say, hey, I'm really sorry. You always start with a sorry. I'm really sorry I called you. I didn't realize you were listed with an agent already. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to reach out to your agent, which is who? And I ask them who their agent is, and they'll tell me. I'm going to call your agent if I have any questions about your house, and I'll actually go through them to set up a showing on your house if my buyer wants to see it. And that's how I leave it. And 99% of them are great. What sucks, though, is if you accidentally call them a second time when they're listed and they remember you, then you can get in some trouble with the other agent. I had a for sale by owner that I did that with, that I called them, they were for sale by owner, they hired an agent, and I accidentally forgot to take them out of my reminders, and I called them again. And that guy got mad and told his agent, who got really mad, who called my boss, and this. Even though when I talked to him and he said he was listed with agent, I was like, hey, I'm really sorry. It's rare for that to happen, but the best way for you to extract yourself out of that situation is just say, hey, sorry, I was just calling the neighborhood, didn't mean to call you. Or I had a message saved in my phone to call and I should have deleted that and I didn't. Sorry. And 999 out of 1,000 will be totally good with that. It's the one that you're like, oh my gosh. Nice thing for me is when I was an ISA, I sat in those open areas over here, made calls. Ed heard me make calls all the time. All the time. He heard my conversations. He knew I was not trying to take any clients away from anybody else. I wasn't pushing anybody. I wasn't being rude to anybody. I was just having conversation. And so he totally had my back on those things. And that's what's nice too when you're in here and you're doing those things. And so, all right. There's your scripts. Let's go back to our little paper here. All right. I left you a little activity there on the last page. It says your calling plan. Write down your weekly call goal. Make a goal. How many people are you going to call? It doesn't have to be every day. I tried to set a day where I had one day of meetings where I was just meeting with people and having lunches, connecting with them, and I really enjoyed that. I felt like that was a good day for me to get out of the office and not get so caught in this. But what days should that probably not be that I'm doing that?
Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday, right? Those are the best days to get people on the phone. So I should probably do that on Monday, Tuesday, or Friday. I like doing it on Friday. Here's what I found out about Fridays for meeting with people. It sucked because they already had plans, and usually I couldn't schedule it then. And so I'd have to really schedule it out in the future if I was going to do that. So I just tend to do that on Mondays for me. It works good. It's the beginning of the week. As long as you remind people or put it in a calendar, they're pretty good about doing those. Main call blocks should be on Wednesdays and Thursdays, 4 to 5 p.m., 8 to 9 a.m. I usually don't start my calls till at least 8:30. I don't want to be the guy that's calling people the first thing in the morning, but you can totally start at 8. And then the persistency goal. If you're calling people more often than other people, if you're following up with people, the person who follows up the most wins. The person who follows up the most wins. So if I call Brandy, and she's like, yes, I'm gonna sell my house, but I'm not gonna sell it until next year at this time. And I call her again in a week and ask her, she's gonna be frustrated with me. If I call her in 3 months and say, hey, Brandy, I just had you down that you were gonna be selling your house this year, she might not even remember our conversation. Are you still looking at selling it in January? Yes, that's still our timeline. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something there. Is it all right if I give you a call in 6 months, just before yep, that's fine. I'm probably gonna give her a call in 3 months again and just say, hey, we talked, you said you were selling in January, great. I had a couple other houses go in the market near your area, or I had some people that were looking or that were interested in houses in your area. You're not trying to sell before that, right? Nope, I'm not. Cool. Probably before I call her, she's gonna call me and say, hey, we're ready to put it on the market now. Let's have you come out. We wanna do some work on it. I'm having those types of conversations with people. But it's all about the follow-up. It's whether or not you keep that person in there. Set reminders. You can set task reminders in Command that will alert you as to when you need to make calls. I had mine down to 10 that were overdue. I looked today and it was at 24, so I had a bunch that I missed, and so I need to get those caught up. But that's the biggest thing you can do.
So not really phone call related, but some of my reaching out is on Facebook. A lot of that is, and there's
Yep.
people I've had on there for 2 years. I'll message them every birthday, every holiday, just check in randomly when I go through it. A lot of times they'll just ghost, not respond, not anything. But there's always like after 7, 8 messages, they'll at least give you a thank you and acknowledge that you're writing them, and it
Yeah.
can kind of slowly start building on that. I've had people just tell me they really appreciate me messaging them how I do, even though they don't respond, just because they're in tough times in their lives.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Sometimes we see silence or no response as a bad thing. Like we start to create these little scenarios in our mind that, oh, I'm annoying this person or on this or that. And yeah, I've gone to church and someone was like, hey, I really appreciate that you did this. And here I was thinking, and they're pissed at me, they aren't responding. And they weren't. They were actually happy about it. And so, yeah, it's funny what we can make up in our heads that's not true about situations. And so my encouragement to you guys is figure out something that works for you. Okay? Take your calculator out. Okay? Take 5 contacts a day times 5 days a week times, there's 52 weeks in a year, we're going to go 45, taking a bunch of weeks off, right? How many contacts is that?
1125.
1125. If I divide that by 72, how many houses will I sell? 15, right? Almost 16. So that's just 5 conversations a day. We're taking off plenty of time, right? Like I'm not working the weekends necessarily, and I've taken off 7 weeks of work, right? And so if you think about your average commission, so my average commission, I'm not playing a split, I'm a single agent, but my average commission we figured out is right around $9,000. So 15 times 9,000, that's 140,000 in gross commission. Now that's not taking off my share to the office or my things that I pay my transaction coordinator or the expenses I have and all those types of things. But that's a pretty good income having 5 conversations a day.
So would these 5 be the ones that you're talking about where you put them in your database to nurture, or are these just any sort of two-way conversations?
Two-way conversations. I try to make most of them about real estate, especially if it's somebody I don't know. I want it to be about real estate. If it's somebody I do know, I at least want to have that forward or form conversation with them. And 90% of the time, when I call somebody and they know I'm a real estate agent, they're going to ask me the question. You know what the question is, right? How's the market? How's the market, Kurt? Kurt, you busy? You know, hey man, I saw on your Facebook, it looks like you're really busy. You've got lots of different things going on. Yep, it's a good year. It's a great time to sell your house. And so, you know, you don't have to, I'm having more and more people call me now about listing their houses and do that stuff than I ever had before. And a lot of that is because I'm consistent making phone calls. I'm consistent putting things on Facebook. But you have to find your rhythm. You have to find out what's important to you. Even if it was 3 conversations a day, okay, you're gonna still sell 10 houses in a year. So it's up to you. It's what do you want to do? What's your goal? And so this is just one of the tools that you can use to get you there. Now, talking to circle prospecting is not going to get you the same results as talking to your sphere of influence and people that trust you. That's going to go further. You're not going to have to make as many contacts that way. But again, this is a way that you can do it. All right, any questions? Any other questions?
Do you also focus on your database, like using the A to, that A to Z and B
Mhm.
to, do you do that too,
Mhm.
calls? Huh.
Yep, I do that. It's called my DT-D2s and do the database too. And so I try to call 2 letters a week, every week. And I've done really good with it for periods of time, and then I've done really bad with it.
Is that on top of your 5 new
Yeah,
conversations?
that would be within it. Yep.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Kurt.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
So you wanna aim on follow-up with your current and your nurtures and your,
Yep.
at least
I
try to
don't-
get 5 new a day?
I don't put a reminder for a person unless it's about them doing business.
Mhm.
Okay, like I don't do reminders just to talk to somebody to keep in touch. Those are typically,
So like, are you calling everybody in your A's, or just people you have reminders in? I guess I'm confused on the.
Stop now?
I'm trying to, I don't know how to.
Hey, what's the ticket
Stop
for?
The
streaming, stop
ticket is for
recording.